All right, if you work in procurement, you are hearing about AI nonstop. But how do you actually go from hearing the buzzword to having a real-world strategy? Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to break down a really clear, actionable roadmap to transform your procurement function using AI.
So let's just start with a really important question. Take a hard look at your current procurement process. The endless emails, the manual contract reviews, all that siloed data. Is that system really ready for what's coming next? Or, let's be honest, is it a liability?
Now, this number isn't just some theory. The source material points to a real-world case where AI and automation slashed operating expenses by almost half. That's not just a small improvement. That is a fundamental game changer in how the business operates.
But let's be super clear here. This is about so much more than just cutting costs. The real opportunity, the real prize, is empowering your team, making the entire procurement function more intelligent, more efficient, and way more strategic for the business. So, where on earth do you start? The framework we're digging into uses a crawl, walk, run approach, which I love. And in this first crawl phase, it's all about just understanding the basic tools you'll have in your new AI toolkit.
First up is generative AI. This is the one you've probably heard the most about. Just think of it as a creative powerhouse, an assistant that can whip up a first draft of an RFP in minutes, write follow-up emails, or even suggest standard clauses for a brand new contract.
And then there's agentic AI. Now, if generative AI writes the email, agentic AI sends it, tracks the response, and then files the result for you. These are autonomous systems that don't just create stuff, they actually take action, managing entire workflows without you having to constantly check in.
So getting this distinction is absolutely crucial. Predictive AI looks at all your historical data to tell you what's likely to happen next, like forecasting demand. Generative AI, on the other hand, creates something that did not exist before based on everything it's learned.
All right, so we get the tools. Now for the really exciting part, the walk phase. Let's look at how these AI models are actually being used to solve real problems across the entire procurement lifecycle. In sourcing, AI basically becomes your super-powered analyst. It can run market intelligence reports in minutes, automatically generate RFPs, intelligently match you with the very best suppliers, and even do the initial risk assessments. It's a huge time saver.
Oh, and contract management is where AI really shines. I mean, imagine scanning thousands of documents to pull out key clauses, automatically flagging non-standard risks, or searching your entire contract database just by asking a question in plain English. It's incredible. And for the day-to-day operations, AI brings massive efficiency. It automates all that tedious work like spend classification and invoice matching. It uses predictive analytics to improve your forecasting, and it can spot weird spending patterns that a human might totally miss.
Okay, the potential is obviously huge, we get that. But the big question is always, how do you actually implement this without derailing your entire organization? And that brings us to the run phase, building a smart, actionable roadmap.
The secret here is not to try and do everything at once. This crawl, walk, run approach is key. You start small with a few pilot projects to prove the concept. You learn from them, and only then do you scale up across the whole enterprise.
And this first step is absolutely critical. It's not about finding a problem for your shiny new AI tool. It's about identifying the most painful, time-consuming, or high-risk problems that already exist in your organization and then seeing if AI is the right solution.
This simple matrix is basically your strategic guide. Forget the high-effort projects for now. You want to live in that top left box, the quick wins. These are the high-impact, low-effort pilots that prove the concept, build momentum, and get your leadership really excited. But before you launch any pilot, you have to answer these foundational questions. I mean, if your data's a mess, if your team doesn't have the right skills, or if your new AI can't talk to your existing systems, then even the best quick win idea is probably going to fail.
So, you've crawled, you've walked, and now you're running with your first few AI projects. The final piece of this puzzle is proving the value and planning for what comes next.
This quote from the source material just gets right to the heart of it. This isn't about replacing people. It's a force multiplier. The real risk isn't that AI will take your job. It's that a competitor who has mastered these AI tools will. And this slide brilliantly shows how to measure that value. Your ROI isn't just the hard savings you can see on a spreadsheet. It's also about avoiding future costs, creating new strategic value, and pure process efficiency. You have to measure all four of these to see the full picture.
So what's the ultimate goal here? It's to move beyond just isolated projects and build an enterprise-wide center of excellence. This becomes the central hub in your organization that owns the AI strategy, shares best practices, and makes sure you are scaling these powerful capabilities everywhere.
So, we've covered the what, the how, and the why. The roadmap is clear. You start small, you prove the value, and then you scale. The only question left is which quick win is going to be the first step on your AI journey.